Good afternoon, everybody. Joining me on Facebook and YouTube, I'm Mary Marshall from the WSA9 Weather Center, and we are tracking Elsa for potential impacts right here in the DMV. Right now, we have a tropical storm watch in place for parts of the DMV, including Ocean City, Calvert, St. Mary's into southern Maryland. We're going to get to that map. Let me just get you the very latest on Elsa right now. So it is made landfall already in Florida a couple hours ago, still packing a punch. Land not slowing this storm down. 65-mile-per-hour winds, gusts are up to 75 miles per hour, and it's hiking up to the north at 14 miles per hour. It's going to continue its journey up to the north until it weakens and then ends up somewhere in our backyard. Right now, we do have tropical storm watches in place. This just came out at around 11:30 this morning. These were issued. They do include Ocean City, all the way down in through the Reedville area, Calvert, St. Mary's, Talbot County, all included within this tropical storm watch. So all these areas in pink, Easton, Denton, all these places included within this tropical storm watch. So let's talk about what you can expect in southern Maryland, Calvert, St. Mary's, and the areas included in the watch. Rain, absolutely, up to about 3 inches of rain. And the problem is that amount of rain falling in a short amount of time could lead to some flooding. So 1 to 3 possible. Key timing is going to be Thursday through Friday. You'll start to see the showers as early as potentially 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow because of Elsa in those areas, but really 9 a.m. to about 9 p.m. Thursday to 5 a.m. Friday is going to be the key timing. Impact could be flooding. You can get property damage. Speaking of flooding, we're looking at flooded roads. The National Weather Service has said there could be water rescues for people who try to cross those flood roads. So a piece of advice: do not try to cross the road once it's flooded. You cannot estimate how deep that water is, and it could be much deeper than it appears, and you could get stuck. We don't want to see you get hurt. So flooded roads and swollen rivers and creeks, if you're around those areas, low-lying areas in southern Maryland into Calvert, St. Mary's, Ocean City, you do want to be careful of that. And then we've got the wind. That's the other component of this. 39 to 57 mile per hour gusts. Tropical storm force winds are possible, even though technically the storm won't be a tropical storm. It would have lost its tropical features. It could still put out some tropical storm force winds, right? Strongest winds are going to be roughly midnight Friday to about 5 a.m. Friday. So this means numerous power outages. This means trees falling. Could see some trees falling in roads, onto houses. You want to be weather alert and prep for this. And I'm hoping that this message reaches a lot of people. Start calling your friends, texting them, get on social with them like, hey, we get a tropical storm watch for this. What's left of Elsa coming our way could get pretty ugly, and you want to be prepared. If you can go to someone else's house who don't live as low as you, who may not get the flooding, I would suggest maybe you do that to keep yourself comfortable. All right, let's talk about the track. So one of the things that I've noticed in the track of this from the Hurricane Center is that the cone of uncertainty, meaning the storm can be anywhere within this cone, the center of it, it has shifted a little bit further overland. All right, so it's still going to work its way across parts of Georgia and the Carolinas. Eventually, Thursday morning, 8 a.m., it is going to weaken, but still be packing a punch, right? It's still going to have some heavy rainfall with the potential for flooding. So it will continue to move up toward Virginia. Richmond will be included within that cone, and the very edge of D.C. into Prince George's, Anne Arundel has now been added to the cone, but the modeling keeps it east, across the bay into the lower eastern shore into Ocean City. That's where the modeling keeps it. But as a precaution, the National Hurricane Center just wants to know if there's any wiggle room, it could wiggle over here. So we'll be watching for any updates. But for now, this is where we're definitely thinking this storm will end up. And at that point, we will see it weakening, but still able to pack quite the punch. Looking at it on Futurecast, this is at 2:30 this afternoon. We still have the heat today, along with the chance for an isolated shower or storm. But tomorrow, the rain coverage is going to be more widespread. You're going to see more areas picking up on showers and storms and heavy rain at times. So here's Thursday at about 3 o'clock or so. We do have a cold front approaching from the west along with some low pressure, but you'll start to see some showers as early as 3 o'clock or so in the afternoon. You get to about 6:30 p.m. You start to see some heavier rain along the bay and along the eastern shore, right? Easton starting to get some of that, Patuxent River up through Cambridge. And then we move the clock back to 10:30 at night. And here's where we're into the peak of the impacts from Elsa. Heavy rain covering Patuxent River across the bay. So Easton, Cambridge, up through Delaware, Salisbury, starting to pick up on the heaviest of rain from this particular storm. And then from at 3:30 in the morning, we quickly begin to see it lifting north and east. So it's going to be just a few hours of the really heavy rain, but you'll still be dealing with the wind gusts. By 3:30 a.m., this is mainly over Delaware. It's worked its way into the New Jersey area, and the rain has lightened up a bit. And then by early Friday morning, it's out of here really quickly as it moves up to the north and to the east. So that is what we're looking at. Now let's look at those winds. We can see the winds start to pick up late Thursday night into early Friday morning. This is Friday at about 1 a.m. Ocean City could clock a gust up to 40 miles per hour, even stronger. At 71 mile per hour gust might be a bit much, but not impossible, honestly. That's still tropical storm force. 50 mile per hour wind possible even early Friday morning at 5 a.m. And then this starts to kick up toward New Jersey and be a problem, sadly, for them. Rainfall amounts. It's going to be mainly along the eastern shore, lower eastern shore, where you could easily pick up on that. 2 to 3 inches of rain. That will certainly be possible. The next few hours, we're still sweating today, but use your precautions for the heat. If you live in those areas, please use this time to start getting ready for the storm. And if you do want to see the 7-day forecast, things get a little bit better for us. Still some isolated showers and storms. This is mainly going to be Friday morning. An isolated storm Saturday, mostly cloudy on Sunday with highs in the 80s. Now, I'm going to walk over, grab my phone. If you all on Facebook Live, you may have some questions. I'm going to start answering them. And I'm going to recap this for people who are just joining us. What you need to know is that, yes, Elsa has made landfall before the DMV. We have tropical storm watches in place for parts of the DMV. Those areas include, we're looking at Calvert, St. Mary's, even Ocean City is included in that, Cambridge, Denton, Easton, Centreville, all included within this tropical storm watch for tropical storm-like conditions within the next 36 hours. That's what we're looking at. So let's go ahead and try to get some questions from you guys. I see there's some comments here, so be patient with me. I'm going to grab my phone, march it back over here, get your questions answered, and then we'll do a recap for people who are just joining us. Let's turn the volume down. All right. So any questions out there? Ashley, Will, Carol. Okay, that's a different conversation. All right. Jack, all right. No, Jack, sir, 20 to 30, but we're also looking at wind gusts. Some isolated wind gusts could be stronger than that. And I know a lot of people like to let their guard down, but keep in mind, even storms as light as this could certainly be deadly. You don't want to let your guard down when you're dealing with anything, even if it is post-tropical. So we still could see some higher gusts. On average, the winds could be a little bit slower, but still could be some isolated stronger gusts, and that's what we are concerned about. And one of the reasons why they issued this is because you could still see those gusts. If we all just thought it'd be 10, 15 mile per hour wind gusts, there wouldn't be a need for the tropical storm watch. So we're looking at rain that could cause flooding. We're looking at wind strong enough to knock over some trees. That could be hazardous, even deadly potentially. And keep in mind, I'm not necessarily here to blow this out of proportion. I just want to make sure that you're aware, because for a tropical storm watch to be issued at this time, it's not a lot of time. It's not a lot of leeway to get your act together if you are in an area that is prone to flooding, or if you have a lot of trees around your house and you don't want to stay there. So I just want to make sure everybody has the word out. And I'm not trying to make this more than what it is, but it is certainly something that should get your attention if you are in this tropical storm watch areas. Having been from New Orleans, growing up there with these type of systems, even things that are not tropical, has caused a lot of problems. So just want to make sure that you are aware, but it's your choice, certainly, to respond how you see fit to the storm. I do hope that you keep safe. All right. Anybody else with some questions out there? Anyone else? And Arundel County will get hit hard. Ashley, not quite as hard as what you would see just across the bay. But I will note that Anne Arundel County has now been included within that cone of uncertainty, meaning anywhere within that cone is where we could see the storm end up, the center of it rather. So with that in mind, you still get some rain, perhaps some isolated storms, but heavier impacts for our neighbors up to the east that are included within this these watches and warnings. So that is what we're looking at. Those will be the main areas getting impact. And just to recap, that includes Ocean City, St. Mary's, Calvert, even Reedville included. You see areas such as Denton and Easton and Cambridge, all included, like the lower eastern shore essentially, all included within this tropical storm watch. Anyone else with some questions? Beltsville, Sigfred, you'll be looking at some showers and storms. It is within the cone, but we do think that the bulk of this, the heavier duty impacts from this will be to the east. So I'd still be prepped for some showers and storms, but perhaps not quite as much just yet of what we're seeing here. If this starts to wobble a little bit further over to the east, we'll be the first to let you know. All right. Doesn't the eye track more inland than along the coast? For this particular run, once it loses its tropical features, it's not going to have an eye anymore, and it's not going to be a tropical storm by the time it gets here, but it could still potentially give some tropical storm force winds, even though it's technically lost its official tropical status. So they can go along the coast or inland, just kind of depends on the features that are steering it around the region. So Chanel wants to know what would be safe if we get a bad storm and you live in an apartment complex. Chanel, I would say try to, if the storm gets really bad, you want to get to the most interior part of your home, even if it's not, say, a tornado, or even if it's just a storm producing really big winds. If you've got trees around, you certainly obviously don't want to, be right next to the tree on the top floor if that tree is going to come down. I would say that would be a better place to ride out the storm. Just the most interior part of your apartment that you can get to would be your best bet. Sure, Antoine. All right. Kira, yeah, see, Pleasant would probably still get some showers and storms out of this. PG County going to get hit. Brown is asking this. You'd be looking at some showers and storms, but not quite as bad as what we'd be seeing over here. And while I'm talking to you guys, I had that watch up. Let me just go over the future cast and show you guys more of the areas, since I think that's going to help to put it into perspective for you as well. So we're going to recap the future cast. Recapping for those of you just joining, and I'm still taking your questions. I just want to make some things clear for some people. So if you're just joining us, there are tropical storm watches in place for parts of the DMV, and we are going to feel what's left of Elsa moving across the area, and that could produce some strong winds for us and some flooding. Let's talk about that and which areas will be the most hardest hit. So Thursday, 3 p.m. At this point, everybody could see a shower or isolated storm at this point. Okay, so all of us will see that. Now, when we move it to 6:30 in the afternoon, you're going to start to notice some heavier rain along the bay and the eastern shore. So if you're not on the bay or the eastern shore, the showers will probably be light to moderate for you, but a little bit heavier over there. Now, this is going to be the peak of it. This is, you see 10:30 at night. This is all going to be from Elsa right here. So the southern edge, perhaps, of Anne Arundel County, Easton, all along the bay, Georgetown in Delaware, that town, Cambridge, up through Salisbury, Patuxent River, all up here, North Beach, all of those areas, you're going to start to be taking the brunt as what is left of the storm. So you're getting the heavy rain. The winds are going to start to pick up around midnight. Those are the areas. If you're in D.C., Gaithersburg, Frederick, Leesburg, Manassas, Culpeper, not as much. The storm is going to be a little bit further over to the east, so you'd be lucky if you saw a shower, but you're not going to get much. I wouldn't say lucky, but you'd barely see a shower, I guess is a better way to phrase it. Even up through Baltimore, showers be a little bit lighter there than what we're seeing. This is the area right here that we're concentrated on with the bigger impacts from what's going to be left of Elsa. So, all right, Baltimore in that line. Yes, so now I will go back over that line as well. So it's just going to cut like right through here. I'll show you that in just a moment. But Baltimore, showers and storms possible for you. The worst of it, as I mentioned, is going to be from the southern edge of Anne Arundel County up through Easton, Cambridge, maybe even Andrews for a brief moment, getting on some of that moderate to heavy rain, Patuxent River, Salisbury, Ocean City even, especially with those wind gusts. This is the peak of it right here. I'm parking it here just so everyone will see. How far west will the rain come inland? Fairfax, Prince William counties. Yeah, Fairfax, you wouldn't be getting a lot of heavy rain out of this event. You'd get some showers and storms during the day and early evening on Thursday, but by the time we get to late Thursday night when Elsa is really closer to us, the major impacts are going to be far far east of you. So Fairfax is over here, so you'd be looking at lighter showers, if anything at all, but maybe just some clouds for you, as Elsa will be a little further east. Now, if this starts to shift a little further this way, I'll be the first, or Topper will be the first to let you know. But this has been in line with the latest model runs that we have seen. Waldorf, John, you'd still be getting some showers and some storms. At times you may get some passing heavier rain, but this is going to quickly be booking. Look at this. This is at 10:30, right? This is the peak of it. Watch what happens as you go just a few hours more to about 3:30 in the morning. It's in, it's out. It's not going to be lingering too long, which is good. So by 3:30 a.m., even those areas that were getting hit earlier with that heavier rain, such as Easton, Cambridge, Patuxent River, up through Salisbury, the rain's going to start to lighten up for you, and then this is going to be heading to Jersey and give them, unfortunately, a headache and some problems similar to what we have seen here. Will it hit PG County or Washington, D.C.? So Ernest, Lawrence, let me just show you what we have. So for D.C. right now, it looks like you'd be on the lighter side of this, just getting lighter rains. Maybe you'd get a gust up to 20, 25 miles per hour. Similar story for Prince George's County as well. With that being said, though, the National Hurricane Center has included, let me back up and show you guys just the latest track here. So with that being said, this is what we call the cone of uncertainty. It's important to understand that the center of the storm can be anywhere within this cone. And at this point, by the time it reaches us, it will no longer be a tropical storm, but it will be still potent enough to kick out some tropical storm force winds. So it will officially lose that title. But you can see that the southern edge of D.C., Prince George's County, is within this cone, as we say, of uncertainty. But the latest modeling keeps it further east, okay? So we're acknowledging that, but we're also looking at the modeling, which keeps the bigger impacts east of D.C. Let me just roll this futurecast up just a little bit just to show you what things are going to look like. Here's your Thursday at 3:30. Pretty much at that hour, anybody could pick up on a shower or an isolated storm at that point, okay? Light to moderate rain, even some pockets of moderate to heavier rain. Once we get to later on that evening, 6:30, you're going to start to see the heavy rain get concentrated a little bit further to the east. This is at around 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Here's who's going to be getting slammed at that point. If you're around Easton, Cambridge, Patuxent River, anywhere along the bay, North Beach, all those areas, even Salisbury into Ocean City, you're getting gustier winds and you're getting the heavier rain. I'm going to go over those impacts in just a moment as well. And then by as early as 3:30 a.m., this is going to be lifting up north and east toward the Jersey area. So just for a good couple hours, it's going to be a bit ugly before this quickly lifts up. And then Friday by 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, it is out of here. Any more questions that we have out there? Williamsburg, Virginia, Juanita, it doesn't look like you're going to get quite as much. Williamsburg, if I'm not mistaken, the location, you shouldn't get as much of this as if you were around Andrews, the Patuxent River, and the Cambridge areas. All right, I'm going to do a Ashwin, give me an idea of what Gloucester is closer to, and I'll give you a better idea. But basically, Sheila was asking, if you're not in this area over here, around the bay, the eastern shore, the lower eastern shore, and in southern Maryland, you won't get quite the same effects. You might get a shower, and then later on that night, it'll just be cloudy for you. We're really looking at the bigger impacts right along the bay, southern Maryland, lower eastern shore areas for the bigger impacts from this particular storm. Let me just run through everything once more for those just joining us, and then we'll take a few more questions and conclude our Facebook Live. Mainly on here just to give you all the heads up, because quite frankly, this is the day before. That's kind of short notice for a tropical system. Typically, we see them coming all the way down the line. But what happened with this particular system, we knew it was going to be passing to our south. But in the latest tracking, it shifted a little bit further over inland to include southern Maryland into the eastern shore. Before, it was going to be even out further past Ocean City. So we've seen a little change, and we want to make sure that you are aware of those changes so that you have time to prepare. All right, let's start with the bigger breaking story is that we have a tropical storm watch in place for parts of the DMV. As of now, these are the only areas included. So D.C., not included in that. Prince George's not included in that. You know, we don't see Fairfax or Alexandria, not included. Montgomery, Loudoun County, not included in this. This is who's included right now. It's going to be the lower eastern shore, southern Maryland, over up through Ocean City, along the bay. Looks like even maybe through southern Anne Arundel, all included within this Calvert and St. Mary's counties are included. Easton, Cambridge, those areas all included within this tropical storm watch. It's in effect now until it is canceled by the Hurricane Center. Here are some of the things that you can expect. Anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rain, but getting that amount in a short amount of time could cause you some problems. The key timing on that for the heaviest rain will be roughly 9 p.m. through about 5 a.m. on Friday. The impacts from that will be flooded roads and some property damage as well. Speaking of flooding, flooded roads possible. Could have some water rescues for people who try to drive over the flooded roads. And the impacts include swollen rivers as well and creeks. If you live in low-lying areas around rivers and creeks and you're in these areas, you do want to make some plans or have a plan in place to how to keep yourself safe if that water should begin to rise. And wind gusts. Wind gusts, not the entire time, but at times could gust as strong as 39 to 57 miles per hour. So the winds could be on average 10 to 15 miles per hour, and then all of a sudden you get one of these stronger gusts. We're expecting the strongest winds roughly from about midnight to about 5 a.m. That impact is going to be power outages. I can see numerous of those happening, along with falling trees, trees falling on roads, trees falling on a few houses. So you do want to keep this in mind if you're in these areas. Let's talk about the track of this and the cone here. This particular storm is over Florida right now, but it's going to be moving across parts of Georgia and the Carolinas. It will weaken by tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. It will no longer be a tropical storm. It will lose its official tropical features. It doesn't have that water to feed on, but it's still going to be a potent enough low pressure system to still produce heavy rain and potentially tropical storm force winds. So when we look at that, we can see that within this cone, you've got a little piece of D.C., you got a little piece of Baltimore, saying that the center of the storm could be anywhere within this cone. While we do acknowledge that, the latest modeling does keep this storm east of D.C. for the most part. So an isolated chance for a shower storm, isolated shower storm possible today. Tomorrow we'll have more widespread coverage, and we do have some other features approaching the area that will increase those rain chances. This is tomorrow at 3:30. Gaithersburg, Leesburg, D.C., Manassas, Fredericksburg, Andrews, everybody, the eastern shore could pick up on a shower or storm around that hour. 6:30 p.m., still some rain going on. Heavier pockets start to build up to the east of D.C. along the eastern shore. Then you get to 10:30 at night. This is going to be Elsa. Okay, this is going to be what's left of Elsa coming through. Heavy rain here, but you see the bulk of that is going to be maybe through Andrews, Patuxent River, Cambridge, Easton, the lower edge of Annapolis, up through Delaware, through Dover, Georgetown, Salisbury. That's who's going to be getting hit with the heavier rain, and then it's going to quickly start to move up north and east by 3:30 a.m. A lot of that heavy rain is going to start to be over. You're going to get lighter rain, still be dealing with some breezy winds, but the storm is going to start to get out of our hair. All right, so I just wanted to inform everybody of what was happening. Topper's going to be here analyzing the very latest on this. He's going to have that. We're always 24/7. We've got up-to-date information about this storm on Florida and how it impacts the DMV on our website right now, WSA9.com/weather. I'm Mary Marshall. It's been a pleasure to inform you all. Again, a heads up for people in Calvert, St. Mary's, Lower Eastern Shore, Southern Maryland, that you are now under a tropical storm watch. Be prepared for tropical storm-like conditions starting tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. You guys take care and be safe out there.